The story of the Good Samaritan is one of the most beloved parables in the Bible. It teaches us about compassion and the true meaning of loving our neighbor. To understand this story, imagine the world as it was thousands of years ago. In the time of Jesus, Israel was a land of rolling hills and dusty roads. People traveled on foot or by donkey. It was a dangerous journey, especially for those traveling alone. Bandits and robbers often hid along the way, waiting to ambush unsuspecting travelers. One day, a man was traveling from Jerusalem to Jericho. This was a well-known road, but it was also a dangerous one. The road wound through steep cliffs and desolate areas. It was the perfect place for robbers to hide. The traveler journeyed for hours under the hot sun. He carried little to protect himself. He was vulnerable and alone. As he rounded a bend in the road, he suddenly found himself surrounded.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. Afternoon, we lay awake in bed. The laughs so loud as the hours pass. We're gonna do it all again. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, shout from the top. We're gonna be, we're gonna be two hearts running wild. The best we ever had, and we'll stay on forever. We'll never have regrets. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top.
And he felt his spirit breaking. The traveler's hope, once a flicker, was now almost extinguished. Would he die there, alone on that dusty road? The question haunted him, a constant reminder of his dire situation. The traveler's mind was a whirlwind of fear and sorrow. He longed for the comfort of a friendly face, for the touch of a helping hand. But as the hours passed, the traveler's hope dwindled, and the reality of his predicament became ever more apparent. As the day wore on, two men approached. The sun hung high in the sky, casting long shadows on the dusty road. The air was thick with the scent of dry earth and the distant hum of cicadas. These men were on a journey, each with their own purpose and destination. They walked with a steady pace, their sandals kicking up small clouds of dust with each step. The road they traveled was a well-trodden path, one that had seen countless travelers over the years. It was a road that connected villages and towns, a lifeline for those who lived in this arid land. The first was a priest, a religious leader. His robes were fine and meticulously kept, a symbol of his status and dedication to his faith. He was a man of importance, respected and revered by those who knew him. His duties were many, and his responsibilities great. As he walked, his mind was occupied with thoughts of the temple and the rituals he would perform. He was a man of God, a shepherd to his people, guiding them in their spiritual journey. He saw the injured man. The traveler lay on the side of the road, his body battered and bruised. His clothes were torn, and his face was a mask of pain. The priest's eyes fell upon him, and for a moment he hesitated. Compassion stirred within him, a fleeting thought of helping the man in need. But then, he remembered his duties, the rituals that awaited him at the temple. He could not afford to be delayed, to become unclean by touching a possibly dead body. He slowed his pace for a moment, but then quickly crossed the road, passing by on the other side. His heart was heavy, but his resolve was firm. He could not allow himself to be distracted from his sacred duties. The injured man was left behind, his cries for help unanswered. The priest continued on his way, his mind now focused on the tasks ahead, trying to push the image of the suffering traveler from his thoughts. Soon after, another man, a Levite, who also served in the temple, came upon the scene. The Levite was a man of learning, well versed in the laws and traditions of his people. He too wore robes that marked his status, though not as fine as those of the priest. His steps were measured, his eyes scanning the road ahead. He was a man of duty, committed to his role in the temple and the community. He too saw the traveler's plight. The sight of the injured man gave him pause. He could see the pain etched on the traveler's face, the desperation in his eyes. The Levite's heart ached with empathy, a desire to help the man in need. But like the priest before him, he was bound by the laws and traditions that governed his life. He knew that touching the injured man could make him ritually unclean, unfit to perform his duties at the temple. He stopped, looked at the man, and even came closer to get a better look. The Levite's mind raced with conflicting thoughts. He wanted to help, to offer aid to the suffering traveler. But the fear of becoming unclean, of being unable to fulfill his duties, held him back. He knelt down, his eyes meeting those of the injured man. For a moment, it seemed as though he might reach out, offer a helping hand. But the moment passed, and the Levite's resolve hardened, but in the end, he also chose to walk away, leaving the injured man to his fate. The Levite rose to his feet, his heart heavy with the weight of his decision. He turned and continued on his way, the cries of the injured traveler fading into the distance. The road stretched out before him, a path of duty and tradition. The injured man was left alone, his fate uncertain as the Levite walked away, his mind filled with the responsibilities that awaited him at the temple. Just when all hope seemed lost, a Samaritan came down the road. Now, Samaritans and Jews were not friendly. In fact, they often despised each other. They had different beliefs and ways of life. They avoided each other whenever possible. But when this Samaritan saw the injured man, something stirred within him. He didn't see a Jew, he saw a fellow human being in desperate need. He felt compassion for him, a complete stranger. He knew he had to help. The Samaritan gently cleaned and bandaged the traveler's wounds, pouring oil and wine on them to prevent infection. This was a time long before hospitals or ambulances. He knew he had to get the man to safety and care for him himself. He carefully lifted the injured man onto his own donkey. He walked alongside, leading the animal slowly so as not to cause further pain. They traveled to a nearby inn, a place for travelers to rest. The Samaritan used his own money to pay for the injured man to stay there. The next day, when the Samaritan had to move on, he left money with the innkeeper. He knew that the injured traveler would need more care and rest to fully recover. The Samaritan, despite being a stranger, felt a deep sense of responsibility towards the traveler. He couldn't just leave without ensuring that the traveler would be taken care of in his absence. This act of leaving money was not just a gesture, it was a commitment to the well-being of someone he had never met before. It was an act of pure, selfless love. "Take care of him," he instructed. The Samaritan's voice was filled with concern and urgency. He wanted to make sure that the innkeeper understood the importance of his request. The innkeeper, seeing the earnestness in the Samaritan's eyes, nodded in agreement. The Samaritan explained the traveler's condition and emphasized the need for proper care. He was not just passing on a responsibility, he was entrusting the innkeeper with a mission of compassion. "If it costs you more, when I return, I will repay you." The Samaritan promised to cover any additional expenses that might arise. This promise was significant because it showed his willingness to go above and beyond. He was ready to bear any cost to ensure the traveler's recovery. This was not just about money, it was about the value he placed on human life and dignity. The Samaritan's promise was a testament to his unwavering commitment to helping others, no matter the cost. He put compassion into action. The Samaritan didn't just feel pity for the injured traveler, he acted on it. He bandaged the traveler's wounds, provided him with shelter, and ensured he had the means to recover. This was compassion in its truest form, active, engaged, and selfless. The Samaritan's actions were a powerful reminder that true compassion requires us to step out of our comfort zones and take tangible steps to help those in need. This story teaches us that loving our neighbor goes beyond physical proximity or shared beliefs. It challenges us to look beyond our differences and see the common humanity that binds us all. The Samaritan and the traveler came from different backgrounds, yet in that moment of need, those differences didn't matter. What mattered was the act of kindness and the willingness to help. This story is a call to action for all of us to embrace a broader, more inclusive definition of neighborly love. It means seeing the humanity in everyone, regardless of their background or even how they have treated us. True love for our neighbor requires us to look past prejudices and past grievances. It asks us to recognize the inherent worth of every individual. The Samaritan didn't stop to consider the traveler's background or past actions. He saw a fellow human in need and responded with compassion. This is the essence of loving your neighbor, seeing the person, not the labels or the history. It's about showing kindness and compassion to those in need, even when it's inconvenient or requires us to go out of our way. The Samaritan's journey was undoubtedly delayed, and he incurred personal costs, but he didn't hesitate. His actions remind us that true compassion often requires sacrifice. It means putting others' needs before our own convenience. In a world where we are often encouraged to prioritize our own comfort and success, the Samaritan story is a powerful reminder of the importance of selfless love and the impact it can have on the lives of others. We see modern-day Good Samaritans all around us. They are the doctors and nurses who work tirelessly to save lives. They are the volunteers who help those experiencing homelessness or feed the hungry. They are the everyday people who stop to help someone in need, offering a helping hand or a listening ear. Maybe you have been helped by a Good Samaritan or have had the chance to be one yourself. Every act of kindness, no matter how small, can have a ripple effect, inspiring others to do the same. The story of the Good Samaritan is a timeless reminder that love and compassion have the power to heal and unite us. It challenges us to look beyond our differences and see the shared humanity in everyone we meet. Let us strive to be like the Good Samaritan, extending a hand of kindness and compassion to all those in need, being a light in the darkness. For in doing so, we not only change the lives of others, but we also transform our own hearts and make the world a better place.